Hello fellow simmers, it's Samuel Beeman of BLS here and welcome to another Train Simulator Classic video. And this one is a very special one indeed, as it's an exclusive preview of one of our upcoming packs, which is in collaboration with Matthew Wilson and Golden Goldsmith Studios. This is the BR Green Class 33 Enhancement Pack for Train Simulator Classic. This has been in production for about a good year now or so. It's been a long process, but finally we are drawing closer to the finish line, to very nearly getting this finished. So I'm just going to put this out there, guys, that this will be a payware product. This is not going to be freeware, and it will be the first payware product that BLS has been involved with. And yeah, it's just a fantastic bit of kit, and I will be showing it off to you guys tonight with D6515 on the second valve Swanage Railway route. So there's a few reasons to why I've chosen D6515 for this sort of special preview, if you like. First being that she is my favourite locomotive of all time, so you know, it's just brilliant to have this new version of her in game and with all the working bits and pieces, all the bells and whistles, etc. Also, it's a locomotive with the headlight, so I can go through basically all of the features that come with the pack. Obviously, you know, because if I didn't have one with a headlight, then I won't be able to use the headlight, I won't be able to show it off, and just bits and pieces like that. And also, everybody loves D6515. You know, it's a mainline locomotive. It's one that has been seen on tours as of, you know, the present era. So this is sort of the one, well, what I believe people would want to see, and to see demonstrating the pack for, you know. So yeah. Anyhow, at present, as far as progression goes, this pack uses the RSC Class 33, so that is the standard Class 33 locomotive pack on Steam, and it also currently uses the Armstrong Powerhouse Class 33 Sound Pack Pro as a requirement. Now, whether this will change and whether there'll be a version available without the sound pack required, I do not know as of yet, but as of right now, at present, it does require the Armstrong Powerhouse sound pack. And I know this can be a little bit disheartening to some people, because obviously I know that there is various members of the community that didn't manage to get that pack before it was discontinued. But unfortunately, if you're going to get the very best out of the Class 33 and just the very best out of an enhancement pack for the 33 in general, the best sound set that we have out there at the moment is the Armstrong Powerhouse sounds. So that is why this pack utilises that. As I say, there is potential that there might be a separate version that doesn't require the AP sound pack. I know that the West Coast ones do work without it, but again, you know, that was a freeware one, and you'll see in this pack that there is a lot of things that have been added to oppose to the previous West Coast Railways one. Like, this has hundreds and hundreds of new objects added and hundreds of new features. So it's an impressive bit of kit, and Matt has done an absolutely sterling job on what he's done to it. I just want to put this out there as well, that Matt Wilson has done the majority of the work on this, and us here at BLS have mostly done sort of the advertising side, the manual work, sort of, you know, creating the user manual, and we also contributed the snow plows, which are on the loco, as we can see here. So those snow plows were done by one of our guys, Steve Davies. So yes, we've had some involvement in this, but it's mostly been Matthew Wilson of Vulcan Productions. But yeah, so I think first things first, what we'll do is we'll start the locomotive up. So we can do this by pressing the Z key, which will start the engine up. There we go, the sounds have kicked in there. So we'll have a little brief look around the loco while that's warming up. You can see here we have some yellow Timcon caps and red springs on this. These bogie frames are changeable, so you can have them as just sort of the standard bogies you get with the RSC 33, You can add red springs and yellow Timken caps, or you can add red springs, yellow Timken caps and white wheel tyres. And also you can have white tyre marks on it, but I haven't added the white tyre marks on this because as of today D6515 doesn't have white tyre marks because it's been used regularly, and the white tyre marks are now basically covered in brake dust and all other kinds of stuff. So yeah, that's just how it is of today. And something I really do love about this as well is the ripple effect that Matt has added on this, which really does look fantastic. We've got the nice ripple effect on there. We also have 3D nameplates for basically all members of the class that have 3D nameplates, and these can be placed on the locomotives via the locomotive scripting in the scenario editor. So all of these are fully customizable. You can basically customize them to your heart's content, really. You can choose which number you wish to have. You can choose whether it has nameplates or not. You can choose your headlight positioning and whether it doesn't have headlights. You can choose the shed code, and obviously you've got the builder's plate here, which is brilliant as well because this is 3D as well. Bear in mind all this writing is 3D. It's just very impressive. So a majority of these assets have been created by Matt. As I say, the only real thing that we've done is the snowplows down here. So these were one of our models which we did. As you'll probably notice, these are the same ones that were from the West Coast pack. The buffers themselves, the texturing on that were actually Lewis Brown's buffer beam sort of buffer textures. So Lewis did contributions on the buffer textures themselves. All of these are now customizable as well, the buffer beams and the steps. So you can change them from either having a black buffer beam, red buffer beam, black steps, red steps, or chrome steps. So, and obviously D6515 has the chrome steps, which is what I've got selected here. We've got high intensity headlights. This texture was actually taken from D6515 itself when I was working down at Swanage Railway, and it's a very nice texture. Actually, it's very clear. You can actually see the writing on it as well, which I quite like. I'm glad to see how well that's come out. So yes, that is actually a legit headlight texture from a 33. And yeah, so that is the model itself. Well, obviously it's the RSC one, but just been glorified with lots of bits and pieces added to it that are different. Obviously we've got the roof texturing as well with the fiberglass roof panel and exhaust pigment, exhaust soot as it were. The exhaust effects are different as well. We've got brand new clag effects on this thing. So yeah, it looks a lot better than what it was previously. We've got a fully scripted driver as well, so depending on which cab you're driving from, the driver will automatically change cabs. I can just demonstrate that now. So at the moment we're in the number 2 cab. If we change the number 1 cab and look outside, you'll see that the driver is no longer in the number 2 cab and is now in the number 1 cab. So again, that's a nice little feature and a nice touch to this, which, at least we have a driver in whichever cab that we're driving in, so it looks a bit more realistic that way. So yeah, in the means of controls, lighting controls, I can go through some of these while we're here. So K operates the left hand side tail light. If you're in the cab, it was on the left hand side, and Control K operates the right hand side tail light. So we can turn Control K off and then K again. And if we want to operate the markers, we press the J key, which operates the left hand side marker, and Control J, which operates the right hand side marker. And then you've got H, which operates your headlight, and then Control H operates your headcode blinds. Although because it's like really bright and the sun is like literally shining on the front here, you won't be able to see it very well, so I'm not actually going to turn that on at the moment. So yeah, for now, as we're shunting in the station, I'm just going to have both the markers on. So I think as well, another feature that everyone has been waiting for 33s are fully working headcodes. So These are operated by Control 6 and Control 7 keys, or Shift Control 6 and Shift Control 7. So we are going to be shunting into the station to collect our coaching stock, so we're going to press Shift and Control 6, which will change our blind to the shunting head code with just basically, with just basically red and then white to indicate that we are shunting. So yeah, as I say, fully compatible with the Armstrong Powerhouse sound pack, and that is what is required for it at the moment, as is the RSC33 pack. So as this is obviously a live premiere, we do have a live chat feature on this video, but obviously as I'm not physically live streaming it, I cannot talk to you guys via the video, so I'm not going to be able to like reply to any questions or any comments that you might have. But feel free to leave them in there anyway, because no doubt one of us from British Locomotive Studios or Matthew Wilson will be in the live chat box to answer any questions you may have regarding this pack. So at present we don't know how much this will cost. The retail price hasn't been decided yet between the three parties, but what we do know is once this has been finished and complete, it will be on sale through Golden Goldsmith Studios. Right, so in the cab we go, and we'll set up. There's not really much in the means of setup on this, because obviously it is still technically the RSC. We don't have like a master key and all of that implemented. It is what it is. It's an enhancement pack. It's an enhanced RSC model. But what we do have is we have new instrument lights. So as you can see here, we've got a really nice sort of warm glow on the instrument lights now. Cab lights are operated on the L key, so we've got obviously the cab light there, which gives a nice warm glow. The brake handles have been changed as well, so what I'll do is I'll release the train brake, and then the loco brake will be placed into full. So that's another thing that's been added to this as well, is the loco brake is now technically the right way round. So on the default RSC33, this loco brake was actually like operating the wrong way. So for example, the brake is currently in the applied position right now. If it was the default RSC33, that would be in the release position. So basically DTG/RSC got it wrong, and the release position is actually there, and the apply position is actually there. So that's been corrected on this version. However, as of right now, you can't operate the loco brake with the mouse. I don't know why that's come about, because I'm pretty sure you was able to in one of the earlier test versions, but it could be due to the fact that the control was changed and messed about with. Whether this will be fixed or not in the final release, I don't know yet. It seems to be coming up with engine brake on here, but yeah, so you can't operate that with the mouse. So it's a bit like the AP37 in that regard. You can't operate everything with the mouse. So yeah, but you can obviously operate the train brake and the reverser and the throttle with the mouse. So yeah, it's not all completely broken. So we need to make sure that our point is set, because we are heading into Swanage platform to collect coaching stock. So the point should be all set now. Although we don't have the signal up ahead. So what we'll do is we'll tab the signal so we can get moving, and hopefully that should change. But yeah, so we'll put ourselves into forward and we'll get connected to them coaching stock, and then we'll show you a little bit more of the head codes once we get into there. So another good thing with this pack as well is that the drivability on the 33 has changed. So it doesn't shoot off like a scalded cat when we put it in the on position, as you can see. It's just a nice, it drives a lot better than what it would as default. Yeah, the signals aren't working. I really need to get in the habit of restarting the scenario when I come into this. So just ignore the signals, folks, they're just not working at the moment. You'll notice that the lean out cameras are different as well on this. So obviously the Shift 2 camera at the moment obviously is facing obviously the driver's side, and if we press the other side it will face the other driver's side as well, so it doesn't, you know, you can theoretically lean out the side of the cab depending on which, you know, which cab you're in, which is pretty cool. So we'll switch off our instrument lights. And change, oh actually you need to just change our lights. Yep, our lights are off. There we go. Yes, this end we have white blanks, so we can change those. So we'll get to see some head codes in action now. Right, I'm going to put my initials in this because I like doing that. So we're going to go up to... Unfortunately there's no S, so I have to kind of, you know... Actually, is there an S? Interesting, there is an S. Maybe there's no S on the real one. On D6515 anyway. But yeah, we'll put SB in. There we go. And then if we press Control H, it turns our headcode box on. Look at that. Doesn't it look lovely? Illuminated like that. And as it's the daytime, I mean, this you don't have to use the headlight. Although to be fair to Swanage, most of the time they just use the headlight and don't use the markers, so you just have that. So, you know, that's what I may do. Another thing that's pretty cool, feature-wise on these 33s, is if you press Shift H, you can see the headlight flare comes on, and then obviously Shift H turns it off. So, like, obviously, this is for obviously when you're running sort of nighttime or daytime. So obviously daytime you won't have the flare, but if you're running at night, it's recommended to press Shift H, and that basically toggles the headlight flare. But obviously if we press H now and turn the headlight off, the flare goes, and if we press H now, the flare comes back on. So it's basically a toggleable feature that you can, you know, use to either, you know, for day, it defaults to day running, or you can, you know, turn it on or off for, you know, day and night, which is again another really nice feature about this. Windscreen wipers as well operate depending on which cab you're in. So I know that the default RSC33 tended to, if you turn the windscreen wipers on, it would do both ends. But obviously now it doesn't. It's dependent on which cab you're driving in, which obviously again just adds a little bit of realism to this over the default one. So I think that's sort of the main features in the means of lighting, and obviously other bits and pieces like the windscreen wipers and changing cabs. So I think what we're going to do is we'll take this for a run down to Norden, and then we'll change ends and head back down to Swanage. And basically when we head back down to Swanage, I will basically stay silent so you guys can listen to the glorious sounds behind the loco hanging out of the window. That's my plan anyway. Right, so now we're at Swanage Station. What we'll do is we'll open up the doors, let our passengers aboard. Okay, so this is again another feature that I know that a lot of you were quite excited for as well, is the external sounds of the 33 being able to be heard in the window hang camera. So all of the AP external class 33 sounds can now be heard when you're leaning out the window, which it was one of those things that was a shame about the original 33 sound pack, is that you couldn't hear the outside sounds when you were like leaning out the window to have that immersion of window hanging. But obviously thanks to this enhancement pack you now can. However, this is only a feature on the enhancement pack reskins. This does not transfer over to the default 33s or any reskins. It is just purely a feature for the enhancement pack 33s. So don't think that this is a patch for the entirety of the 33 packs, because it isn't. There we go. I mean, we should have the signal, but we don't have it because the signals aren't working at the moment, which is rather annoying. So we're just going to have to grin and bear it, unfortunately, because technically I've already started the video. So once we started, we can't stop. We need to just carry on, finish the video. So that's what we're going to do. Yeah, obviously, once again, if you've got any questions within about the pack, regarding the pack at all, mention it in the live chat. There should be a live chat feature in on the left hand side. There should be a little pop sort of menu on the side of the video for you guys to be able to type in, say hello, and have a chat, about regarding this this upcoming pack. But anyhow, now that the doors have closed, we shall get ourselves moving. The next stop shall be Harmon's Cross. Put ourselves into forward, toot on the horn. Give ourselves a bit of power. And you can hear those lovely Sulzer engine sounds very clear within the window hang camera, which is just, it's something that I know that, that people wanted, and it's great to have it implemented on this enhancement pack. Another thing that is quite good about this pack is the sound implementation within the cab interior. So that's another thing that is slightly different to the default RSC locomotives, is you'll notice that the sound has been slightly altered within the cab as well, so you can very faintly hear the 33 engine sounds within the cab, which I think is a really nice effect, to be honest. It kind of adds to it. You'll notice as we head up the gradient towards the two crossings. In fact, you can hear it now. Another thing that's really good about these now is obviously now that the physics have been altered slightly, the train actually feels like it's got some weight behind it. You know, it feels a lot nicer to drive than what it would, you know, as default. Also, the brake isn't like stupidly sensitive anymore, so you like if you just tap the brake, it doesn't just fly up to nearly emergency. You know, it acts, you know, proper. So it's not nearly as sensitive. Yeah, you can see you really do have to thrash it more. We'll slow it down and then rev it up the hill. See the clag effects there doing their thing. We'll show that clag a little bit more in action once we open it up again. Right. Yeah, so that is the enhanced clag effects for the 33. I think you can agree that it is a much improved example of clag over the default clag that you get with the RSC 33. Oh, the signals are working now, so we've got a green for the loop. Makes a change. And there we are, Harmon's Cross. Yeah, you can see this is one of the things that Matt has introduced on these nameplates recently as well, is the sort of the stripes where you can see where the paint's been applied. Sort of that sort of texture, it's really nice. Full HD nameplate. Also got some nice texturing going on the shed code as well. Another thing you can do with these 33s as well is you can change the positioning of the warning flashes and the blue stars. And you can also change the style of warning flash between old and new. Obviously these are all bits and pieces that you'll be able to find out once you've bought the pack. I cannot stress this enough though, guys, that when you do buy this, make sure that you read the manual. Like, that is like utmost importance, because there is so many other features with this that I can actually go through now, actually, which I have actually, believe it or not, forgot. So a couple of other bits and pieces with this. Right, while we're here, if we press Control U, it places a disc on the right hand side. So if you're in the driver's cab, that's obviously on the right. And then Control I does the upper half right hand side. Control O does the up area of, or upper side of the left hand cab window, so the driver's side. And then Control P does the general left hand side. However, you can switch between both discs and lamps if you so choose. So if we press Shift L, it changes our discs to lamps, so now we get to use lamps instead, which are operated on the same controls: Control U, I, O, P, and P, O, I, U. There we go. So they are basically the Shift L button toggles between lamps or discs, depending on what the user wants. So that is yet another feature that you can do with these, and yeah, again, you know, it just adds to it, you know, adds more to it. There is so much you can do with this, and you know, the playability factor is quite large. Another thing you can do as well is with the snow plows, for example, you can change it to have either full snow plows and just, you know, as it is, or just side plows, so the centerpiece is gone, or you can have no snow plows, or you could have black snow plows, depending on what you want. And that's all done in, again, with the scenario scripting in the scenario editor, so when you customize the loco to your choosing. But yes, anyhow, now that we've gone through that, I'm pretty certain that we can now leave for Corfe Castle. We've got the green signal, majority of this section is downhill, so just sort of let the train do the work. But we can give it a little power along here. So if anyone is wondering about the route, it is the second valve Swanage Railway route, which is available from Steam Sound Supreme website. It's a pretty old route now, and to be honest with you, we could really use with a new Swanage, but for what it is, it's, you know, the best that we have. I know that there's a couple of requirements. I don't think you can get any more. Whether these assets are re-released within other routes or other areas on other websites, I don't know. But I believe they're like a couple of old UKTS assets. Again, depending on the author, obviously, you know, it depends on them whether these assets could be hosted on other sites or not. Quick outside shot of the loco. For you guys to feast your eyes on. Now, probably a couple of questions that would most likely come up that I can think of anyway would be, does this pack have any headboards? Well, the answer to that is no, and there's a reason for this. So bear in mind, this pack was originally intended to sort of utilise sort of the 1960s period BR Green 33s. Instead of having headboards, we obviously had the addition of the lamps and discs, and that is the reason to why this pack doesn't in particular have headboards. The preserved versions of 33s actually came later. These were later editions, so all of the extra parts like nameplates and bits and pieces to make your, you know, preservation era ones, that all came later on. But originally this pack was intended for a 1960s period based pack, so that would be your reasoning to why headboards are not necessarily on the agenda of this. Certainly does look good with Corfe Castle in the background. Okay, and we've got the off for Norden. Now, one of the things I have noticed with Norden, sometimes it does do this, it puts me in the wrong road. Yeah, so I'm just going to make sure we're going into the right road. Need to dump the brakes because we're uncoupling. Here we are in Norden. Okay, so we shall uncouple the train and run round. As always, we'll turn our instrument lights off. Turn the head code light off and the headlight. Switch our tails on. Oh, that's weird. Okay, that's interesting. So if you turn off the right hand side tail light, it puts white head codes up. Strange. Might be a slight bug there with that. That might need reporting, but hey ho, it's not a major issue right now. So we'll switch ends. Now we can get a little bit of head code action going on here. So we're going to change this head code to 98, which is the Swanage head code. Other way. So for those who've just joined the stream, or well, the premiere, the head codes are operated by Control Shift 6 to operate it one way, Control 6 to operate it the other way, and this is on the right hand side head code. And then the left hand side head code is Control Shift 7, or just Control 7 for the other direction. There we go, head code 98. Yes, it looks a bit strange when the sun's like shining on it. So sometimes it's best not to have the head code light on when it's daytime. That's just, you know, they don't really tend to have the head code light on during the day anyway. So we'll make sure our point is set. There we go. So for those who may have just joined this live premiere, if you have any questions regarding this upcoming pack, let us know in the live chat. There will be one or two of us within the live chat to be able to answer to you. So this is the upcoming BR Green Class 33 Enhancement Pack by Matthew Wilson, Golden Goldsmith Studios and us here at BLS. It is going to be a payware product available via Golden Goldsmith Studios, and currently we do not know what the pricing will be just yet. We don't know how much it will be or what we'll be pricing it at. Yeah, that is something that needs to yet be discussed, obviously by the three parties involved. sounds. There we go. Okay then guys, so for the last part of this journey today down to Swanage, I'm going to basically be quiet and let you just enjoy the sights and sounds of the 33 running along the Swanage Railway from the front coach, so you can experience the Armstrong Powerhouse sounds in action from the window hanging camera. So I hope you guys have enjoyed seeing the features of the Class 33 and what to expect from the upcoming pack. Feature wise, and yeah, let us know in the comments if you're excited for this and if you're looking forward to it. So thanks for watching. This has been Samuel Beeman of BLS, and I'll see you again in another video.